Hi everyone, my name is Danny and today we're going to do an introduction to Sony Vegas. This is going to be part one, which is for the people who have never really opened Vegas before, and it's all to do with getting to know your way around here. Part two, we're going to actually edit a project together. Okay, so this is part one. This is your layout. Sometimes you will open Vegas and it'll look different, but this is how I like to have it every time. You can drag things around by pulling these 3-4 dots, these several dots along here, and you can move things to different sections if you want. Like I can put that in the middle if I want, which I think is where it starts. I like to have it over there. With your this is your master volume track. Your volume should always, when you have it playing, the bars should be between probably 9 and 12. That's like your ideal place, else it can be too quiet or too loud on other people's computers, so that's where I like to keep my volume. And you can just raise it there or adjust it in the volumes there. Over here we've got our project media, so when I import some project media, for example, a day in the life of MissDoonaQueen, it will show up there. That's a lovely thumbnail, thank you Vegas. And then all my media, so my songs and everything, will show up there. Here is your media bins. If you have a big project, so say I'm editing a wedding video, I would want to create several bins, and I'd name this one ceremony, and then I'd name this one reception, and then I'd probably name this one here audio. So I can have everything in, and I can drag it from a folder into this section, and that way I will, for example, let's find something very organized. Alright, so I've got some reception footage here, so we'll go into reception and we can drag in a clip. And ta-da, we have a clip. If we want to preview the clip, we can push play. So there you've got some reception music playing. And that's in my reception folder. It will also show up in all media, but in the bins, that's where it is. And that way you can keep things organized. But when it comes to AMV editing, you don't really need to worry about that kind of thing. That's just an idea to know that that's there, and you can just delete them as you go. Sometimes if I'm making like a photo slideshow, I'll make two folders and I'll go used photos and unused photos and drag them in once I use them into the used photos, so I don't have repeated footage throughout my thing. Okay, so that's your project media section. This one here is your media generators. These you'll usually only use for titles and text. These are all your pre-made texts. I make some down the bottom, so you can drag it onto your timeline, and that's where you edit it. You'll have to select everything in order to change your colors or sizes, because you can select just a word and have a different size to the other words, which is pretty cool, because there's a lot of editing software out there that won't let you do that. In saying that though, everything needs to be the same color, so you can, if you wanted several different colors, you'll have to make several different titles on your timeline. So down here, of course, is your timeline. You can double things up. So these are playing at the same time because they're sitting on top of each other, and if I wanted that together, I would move it down so that you could see both at once. Doubling and layering is excellent, and I will talk more about layering in part 2 of my tutorial, but for now we're just going to learn what's what around here. So usually use your media generators when it comes to text. For example, if I wanted to create some subtitles, I would write subtitles, and I'd probably want it at about 12 down the bottom and centered, so that's 50. And usually subtitles are like more of a yellow color, and they're often outlined a little bit in black, so you can always explore all the different options you've got on here You can put a shadow on, you can adjust your tracking, which separates the letters, or your line spacing, which if you had 2 lines it would make a bigger gap between the lines. They're always fun when you click animate. I will talk more about animation later. So then if you know that you're going to use this subtitles text thing again, you can always go up here to preset up the top and write subtitles and then save it. So that next time you go into titles and text, there it is down the bottom. I can drag it in and it says it down there, and all I have to do next time is change the text. Okay, so that's, and you can save presets like that for anything that includes effects and color, backgrounds, whatever you want. If you know you're going to use it again, you should save it like that. I have up here, I always go into color gradient, and if I'm making like a soft sad video, you'll notice I think I used it on my smoke video. I've got a vignette, so I just grabbed this elliptical transparent to black, and I made this go out a bit more, and I toned it down a little bit, and then I saved it, as vignette, and now I just pop that on top of a finished video and render it, and it'll have this nice kind of elliptical look about it, and the fades will all be quite centered, and I think it's just a nice touch to add. Another thing that you may end up using is if you create films, here you've got all these nice preset credit rolls, and they're all, you can change any effects you want in them, and they're really easy to figure out, and you can make, like if you really like this one but you don't like the white background, you can go styles and change the background color to transparent or whatever you want. So they're all really good like that. You probably won't use these things unless you're doing some weird shit. I know I personally don't use those kind of things. You can also save, okay, next thing, video effects. These are your effects. You'll notice I don't have new blue on here. That's because you don't need them in order to create a good video. They're a nice thing to have when you're starting out and you're looking for new effects to use, but realistically you don't actually need them when creating an AMV like I make. And so your effects you can, let's see, here's my sample video here. And all you need to do is drag them onto the video to create, oh, it's nice shot of me, to create your effect you want, and you can remove it just by clicking this little X up here. So usually if I go black and white though, I will go black and white, and I like to also, see most of these came with preset effects, but these ones down here I've made myself. So I click a preset black and white, which I've just dragged down here, and I've just pretty much up the contrast a little and the brightness to create like a more defined black and white. And then I clicked up here, of course, and saved it as black and white 1, and I click save, and that's what you got there. And you can just drag it on next time, and it's all ready to go. Alrighty. So these are all your effects. You will have a lot of fun playing with effects. They are really what makes AMVs go round. I should really pull in some anime footage, shouldn't I? Because, oh, don't want to do that. Because that's kind of what this is all about, isn't it? So, here's some good old-fashioned avatar. Now, to make things widescreen, I like to right-click, and as soon as I bring it down into my timeline, I just click match output aspect, and so long as you have your properties set up, which I will go through at the end for rendering and the like, it will make it widescreen for you. And this is good because it's not going to stretch your video, and yes, it does crop out some of your video, but you can always cut it like that, and make a nice animation with your keyframes, so that it's moving downwards. That was a bad example, but I'll talk about animations in a sec. I'm trying to whiz through this so this isn't too long for you guys, but that's gonna be hard. Okay, so of course, and then I'm going really fast. Slow down. Okay, so when you have your usually when I edit, which I'll talk more about in part 2 of this tutorial, I cut up all the video first, and so it's all on the timeline the way I want it to be shown in the music video, and then I will add the effects, usually last, sometimes as I go, but it's always cut up first. So say I wanted a nice fade from black and white. So put in my black and white. This is your animation button. Animation, it's to do with keyframes. Keyframes are to do with each point in the video, which we can demonstrate here. So you can see the preview moving while I move along this part. So it's moving along the timeline. Now, so I want to say maybe here I want to become full color, so then you can see as I go it slowly changes from black and white. I usually start the black and white here so you get the gist that it's black and white, and then I'll make that go here. So you're like, oh, it's black and white, no, it's color, yay. Sorry, I'm really brushing over this, and like I said, I always do the black and white brightness and contrast with it, so then of course same deal, brightness and contrast is animated. I'll drag this to where my black and white is, so now it's a nice darker one, and then by here I'll make sure these are both back to 0. So you'll notice that there are 2 sets of keyframes here, this one and then this one, and then they all go back to normal by the end. And you can animate anything, any of these effects, I think. Pretty sure they're all animatable. So like say you wanted this TV effect because you had like kind of grungy music, but you only wanted it for a certain bit, so you click like this, animate, and make everything go back to normal, so then it'd only be grungy for that part. And of course you can make things go a lot quicker and closer together, so it's like that, or you can make this one here before it normal, so it's just like a quick yeah, the wave is good for TV syncs as well, so is add noise. I like screen. I have a feeling I might have made that one, but it's similar to grainy. Brightness and contrast I use a lot. I will often, see I made this one, which it's just, you drag your default in, you make a nice bright crazy thing, push animate twice, halfway through the clip, take them back to 0, and you've got a more of like an explosion till it's back to normal. That's great for flashing. Sometimes I'll add in, if it's a really sharp flashing sound, I'll add in a flash. So this flash here I made, it's a yellow flash, but I just changed the color to red, and you go red flash, and then I've still got my brightness and contrast effect there, which makes it just a bit more, gives it a bit more oomph. So these are your transitions. You can just drag them onto this X that happens when you drag a clip on top of each other. Transitions are great. I personally don't use them that much anymore because I use more of a faded style nowadays, but you'll notice in my last video, Signal the Captain, I did in fact use transitions. They were mostly just flash though. I don't think I used anything else. I personally only really use flash and dissolve, and when I use dissolve it's usually fade through white or fade through black. You can use the other ones. These ones are pretty cool, but I just don't really use them anymore. they're for people who have more time. I'm not, yeah, I don't have that much time to fiddle around with things like that, but they can be cool if you use them right. If you overuse them, they can look really funny. Alright, so down here you've got your tracks. Now whenever I start a project, I will usually start a project, I will right click and I'll go video, video, audio, and maybe another video actually. 3 videos. The top video I usually go on screen. No, the middle video I go on screen. That top video I go with lighten, and then this last track stays the same, and then that's just your audio. So you'll put your music there. When I drag things down, it opens a new audio, and I just click delete, unless I'm doing voiceovers, and that just takes off the audio, because really in music videos you don't need that unless you're trying to sync. But that's usually for proper band music videos. So as soon as I drag it in, I just, of course, make it widescreen, and bam, and then I would start editing, because the music would go in first. Yeah, make sure your video that you use, so I'm using Avatar, it is high quality video. I download all mine from avatardownloads.tk, I think that's what it's called, and that's logoless and HD. It does take a while to download them all, because you got to download them like one at a time, but I think it's worth it because it just makes your videos look so much better. A cool thing with tracks is you can just click over here. This is your effects icon. You click the effects icon, and you can save a preset coloring effect and click add, and it can apply it to the whole track, and that's pretty cool. Colorings you can save as an effect like this by, so you've got all your groups together up here, so your layers of effects. So I'm not going to go through all the effects I use now, but say I wanted this one with this one and color curves, maybe that one. I'm sure this has made such a beautiful colouring, but let's see what we've got. Okay, so it's very yellow, but say I love this colouring, I'm going to save it. I will click this plugin chain icon, and then same deal with the other ones. You just click save as and save it as a package, and that way it's going to save to here, and I can just add it to my project next time. So that's a fun trick, and it saves you from having to look up a colouring every time. I don't know who does that, but I can't remember the days where I was doing that. It was too horrible. Alright, so I think I also promised I would show you my render effects. So in properties, I think this was mostly a preset. It's HD 1080 60i, which is the 1920 by 1080, and it's the 29.97 FPS. So you'll find it down here. And then I've got my width at 1920 and my height at 1080. Field order, upper field first with the pixel aspect ratio at 1, which is square. My frame rate is 29.970. Pixel format is 8-bit. Full resolution rendering quality is at good. Gaussian motion blur type. Blend fields. Yep, audio is, you don't usually have to change audio. The sample rate's 48. On stereo, yeah, don't really need to worry about anything else. That's just in your properties. And then options, preferences, your video, I set the RAM preview max to 900, and then my number of rendering threads is at 4. Oh, there's a cat. Go away, cat. Go away. What do you usually, oh, okay, so when you go file, so we'll put this down here, file, render as. So usually you have all these lists of things. I click main concept because I like MP4, especially since I used to do all my videos in WMV, but then YouTube had that episode where everything in WMV was like blurry and pixelated, so I switched to MP4. I think these are already here, Internet HD, unless yeah, here they are. And then I adjusted them, so when you click on one, you can click customize template and adjust them. So my template that I use for my YouTube videos is this one. It is HD 720p, which is 1280 by 720. Profile is main. Frame rate is 29.970 with a progressive scan, which is none. Pixel aspect ratio is 1. Number of reference frames 1. Variable bitrate with 16, whatever that number is, and 8. Render using CPU only. I think that I had to change once, and that fixed problems I was having. Enable progressive download and audio. It's just that you don't really have to change anything else. And yeah, so that's my render option. To render something, you just click on the one you want and make sure it's going to the spot you want it, and you click render and it will render. Okay, I'm sorry if that was too quick. If you do have any questions, my cat's meowing. If you do have any questions, please just write them in the comments, because I know I rushed over a lot of things, because I really didn't want this to be way too long for you guys. And yeah, just ask me what you think. Oh, I didn't really talk about pan crop. So pan crop is when you pan crop's when you click this little squarish button here, or you right click and go up to video event pan crop, and again you can use these keyframes to animate it, so you can do that over there, and this is normal, so that when you push play, oh well, that was really long, short, it's zooming in. So that's how you zoom. If you wanted to zoom out, you would make the smaller one at the beginning and the longer one normal. Easy as that. Masking is a whole other world, and I'll let you look up your own masking tutorials for that, because I can't be bothered with masking anymore. Of course, this would be in widescreen though as well. I think that's it. I'm going to leave it at that, and I will let you guys ask your own questions if you have any about Sony Vegas. This tutorial is mostly for people who want to edit AMVs, anime music videos, animated music videos even, and it's just a brief guide. I have other tutorials on my channel for more effects-based ones, such as dubstep editing and simple editing effects. But this is just a brief guide for someone who's never really looked at the program before. Oh, I cut all my videos. When you saw me just cutting them, that was just by pushing the key S on my keyboard. So there's a lot of shortcuts like that that are really handy. Control Z will be your best friend, joining things back together and stuff like that, going backwards. But yeah, other than that, let me know if you have any questions, and I hope you like this part. Stick around for part 2, where I will actually show you the process I take when it comes to making a whole video, and we'll see how that goes. Thanks for watching. Bye.